I'm going to get straight to the point. SVS subwoofers are amazing. You all know that. And there are already so many positive reviews online. If you go to their website, man, you can see them displaying their awards and accolades proudly on their website. So how do I approach talking about their SVS PC2000 Pro subwoofer without sounding like another commercial? Well, for one, I would not use the word "it is so good" in this video. Now, every time I click on an SVS subwoofer video, it is always about how the sub can shake something off the wall or how it can realistically bring King Kong into your living room. For me, SVS subs being amazing for home theater is an expectation. What about music? This is Thomas in stereo, and I'm more focused on two-channel listening. But you know, at one point in my life, I was only into home theater. I went through many projectors, screens, home theater speakers, and subwoofers. Of course, what I look for at that time is just pure room rattling power. Forget definition and precisions. I was all about shaking the house. When I finish watching a movie and I go upstairs from my basement here, and my wife gave me that look, you know that you have done well building your home theater system. I'll tell you a story. Did you know I bought this house just for my home theater? So one night I was driving through this neighborhood and I told myself, hey man, you know the houses here, they have very good space between each one. So I can blast my home theater. So the next day, I went to the office where they sell like these houses. I went to check the basement of a pre-built house, like they have sample houses. And I told myself, man, the biggest wall can handle a 130-inch screen. Okay, you know what? I bought the house. It was just like the first or second house I visited, and I bought it just because one of the basement walls is big enough for my projector screen. Now, on my journey to build my dream home theater, I bought an SVS 2039 PCI cylindrical subwoofer, and I loved it. It was everything everyone said it was, a foundation destroyer. I loved it until I discovered two-channel audio. Now, I still remember one night frustrated trying to integrate that SVS sub with my two-channel stereo. It was just too boomy. I would put the volume down to almost zero, and even then it did not work. So eventually, as I transitioned to two-channel stereo, I ended up selling that subwoofer. A few years ago, I discovered sealed design subwoofers. Now, many of you have seen the Rel T7i video I made, and because of my discovery of subwoofers for music, now as you know, I'm bringing a tube integrated amp to market. I insisted that my amp will have a dual stereo subwoofer output. Now, usually tube integrated amp at even double that price does not have a subwoofer out, but I know the world has changed, and subwoofer for music is a must for some rooms. Now, the problem with sealed design subs is when it comes to movies, it is just okay and lacks that raising your adrenaline magic. Most people probably will be fine with it, but man, you're talking to someone who bought a house for his home theater. So just like two-channel audio, my standard for home theater is quite high. Even my dedicated home theater speakers are not just your average Best Buy home theater speakers. Now, if you look at my home theater speakers, it has many settings to optimize for my room. So after I finished reviewing the SVS sound-based amplifier, I asked SVS if they can send me one of their cylindrical subwoofers. I wonder, with all the advancement in technology, can the SVS 2000 Pro, unlike the SVS 2039 PCI, man, who came up with that name? It reminds me of Finn from Star Wars. My name is FN2187. Will it be good for music? The answer is yes, with a little asterisk. So, my audio buddies, today we are going to talk about the SVS PC2000 Pro. You see, PC2000, P stands for ported, C for cylindrical. You see, that is good naming. Now, just like most of my video, SVS is not paying me a penny, and they have not told me I can keep these subs. In fact, the last few items I reviewed for SVS, I ended up buying them with my own money. And I think Now, the only thing you need to know about this SVS sub is it has a 12-inch downfiring woofer with 550 watt RMS. It goes down to 16 Hz. Comes with these nice soft feet with a fancy name, SoundPath subwoofer isolation system. The best part is you can control everything with your phone. Now, for those of you who are still living in the Stone Age and think, that's no big deal, who needs all these fancy apps, which allows you to adjust the volume, adjust the crossover frequency, parametric equation, polarity, room gain, and blah, blah, blah. I would not be surprised they have like a make coffee button hidden somewhere in the app. If you don't think you need the app, I am telling you, you need this in your life. Your subwoofer life is incomplete without this app. So how does it sound? Look, just go look at the gazillion videos out there. Those guys have a more fancy vocabulary than me in describing how good the sub is at tearing down their room. My only concern was, can I listen to music with it? Because I expected it to perform really well with movies. Now, I would answer it this way. If you have never heard a SEAL sub, it would never cross your mind that you can do better than this sub once you dial this in with the help of the app. I was able to integrate it to the point that I felt it worked well for music. In fact, I'm guessing if I ask my audio buddies to come to listen to my system, they might not know I have the subwoofers on. Now, of course, when I power on and off the subs, yeah, I can hear a big difference. Now, I did sew up the port, drop certain frequencies, and select specific setting optimized for music with the app. Now the point is, compared to the old SVS sub, it is night and day. The only thing you have to be aware of is certain instruments feel bigger. It is still tight enough, but the bass does feel fatter. Like the cello, it feels bigger. The soundstage is bigger. But fortunately, the singer does not feel bigger. Now I did double check if the bass is tight enough, and yes, it is. The asterisk I mentioned before is certain things feel bigger and the bass is fatter. Now the reason why I mentioned earlier, if you have never heard a SEAL sub made specifically for music, is that because from my experience with SEAL sub, I was able to hear more articulation and detail with those subs, and they tend to disappear easier. With SEAL subs, many times I would wonder if it is on or not. With this SVS, I'm not saying you can hear it, but you can definitely hear a big difference without the need to go into critical listening. So it all depends on what you want. Also with this sub, I noticed the more output you need from them, the more finesse you lose with music. Now, Loic also got a chance to try it at his home. That's one of my audio buddy. And he did get them to integrate well for music. His only observation is that ideally, to use it with speakers that allow him to cross under 60 Hz. Now, in my opinion, if you want a sub for just music and also you're chasing more for that definition, then get one of the sealed version. Now, SVS does have sealed subs. Now, why would you get this one? It's because it is more fun. Exactly how I described the Wilsonton R82 integrated amp that many of you love. As I said, based on that unit, it's exaggerated, but it brings a big smile to my face. When I listen to it, sure, not the most audiophile tube amplifier, but definitely a really fun and happy amp to listen to. With the SVS, this is so fun to listen to, especially with 80s music. Forget the audiophile snobbery. I want to hear exactly what the artist intended. Forget that. This is how I want to listen to, and I had a blast with it. So logically, if you're using your system for both music and movies, this is a good solution. If you spend 51% of your time with movies, this is something you should seriously consider. Because the second I open up the ports and change the settings to movie and remove all restraints, it is like Bruce Banner transforming to the Hulk. You know, home theater has taken a backseat ever since I spent more time with two-channel system, but oh my God, these subwoofers reminded me why I bought this house. I missed those crazy door-shaking explosions, and I remember while I was testing these subs, I would rewind the same scene like 3 times just to feel the power. If you never ever tried house-shaking subs, you should. Life is short. Have I ever listened to subs with more output and more definition? Yes, but those were more expensive. Now, I don't know if $1,099 is good value because I don't specialize in subs, but from my research online looking at people's comments, everyone seems to agree that it is very good value. Especially you get a 45-day trial period, 5-year unconditional warranty, and free shipping. What else can you ask for more? I do want to mention, you should ask for the port plugs because they're not in the box, but they are free. They told me most people don't use them, but for me, if you're using them to also listen to music, you should get them. So let's wrap it up. Some of you might find the sub too big, but for someone like me, I love it. When I set out to build my home theater, I wanted everything big. A big wall for a big screen, big sound, big subwoofer. Now, the only reason I had to set up for a small size home theater speaker is just simply because of space. But, you know, my home theater speakers are still decent size. Look, SVS makes different subwoofers. And what I'm trying to do with this video, as an audiophile and movie lover, is to give you an idea if this is the right solution for you. If I were to choose a sub for just purely music, I would ask them to send me the SB3000 seal box version. If I want it purely for movies, I would ask them to send me the PB16 Ultra ported box. But I risk ending up with a divorce if I get that. Now this PC2000 Pro is really a balance of both music and movies as well as price. Not too cheap, not too expensive. And that was partially the reason I asked for this specific model instead of the higher end model. Yeah, maybe I should have. Having owned the older SVS sub, this SVS sub met my expectations of being able to easily and decently integrate for music listening. The Bluetooth app is godsend. You got 45 days to try it out, and don't buy it because a YouTuber say it is good. Consider it if you are someone who needs a sub for both movies and music. Alright, till next time.